Hirap sabihin na there was a moment of realization where I thought, oh, ang galing ko pala mag-isip. And sa
And
tingin
I noticed you're in the team with Jerry and Hugo. You're all left-handed players.
Yes, I know. We said we're the left-handed team, yeah.
Do you think that's maybe going to give you?
Opponent and tough conditions out there, very hot, but I'm just very happy with the win and excited to go at it again tomorrow.
Breaking Alex Eala drops to her knees before a cleaning staff member following a historic stadium victory in emotional scenes. Ladies and gentlemen, do not go anywhere because the scenes unfolding right now in Auckland, New Zealand are far more than just a sports bulletin. We are witnessing a moment that is fundamentally redefining the concept of humility within the high-stakes world of professional tennis. We are currently just 30 minutes past one of the most electrifying, heart-stopping, and genuinely tear-jerking finales to a contest that has ever graced the history of the WTA Tour. And trust me, while you may have tuned in for the athletics, you are staying for the humanity. The world tuned in, expecting a battle, hoping to see if the Philippines tennis sensation Alexandra Eala could finally silence her critics and overcome the formidable challenge of the Polish veteran Magda Linette at this year's 2026 ASB Classic. And my goodness, did the fans get a spectacle of a match, but absolutely no one inside that arena, from the seasoned commentators in the booth to the ball kids on the sidelines, could have predicted the events that transpired exactly 30 seconds after the final point was decided. I want you to put the final scoreboard aside for a second, to forget the blistering winners and the tactical mastery we just saw. Because right this very moment, social media platforms across the globe are in an absolute meltdown. Not over a backhand, but over a simple, profound gesture. It was an act so pure, so completely unscripted, and so incredibly touching that it brought 3,000 spectators inside the ASB tennis arena to a complete stunned silence before they erupted into the kind of thunderous applause that you feel deep in your bones. We are looking at a 20-year-old rising superstar, fresh off securing the most significant victory of her 2026 campaign thus far. Yet, in her moment of triumph, she ignored the television cameras, bypassed her celebrating coaching team, and dropped to one knee, not to offer a prayer of thanks and not to fix her laces, but to humble herself before a 70-year-old member of the cleaning staff, who was quietly sweeping debris near the net. What Alex Eala did next is the question on everyone's lips. The actions of the young star, and the single sentence she reportedly whispered that has forever altered that woman's life, have left millions of Filipino supporters and tennis enthusiasts around the world searching for handkerchiefs. This is the developing story of the singular moment that brought the entire tennis world to a standstill. This is the tale of the Angel of Auckland. Welcome to your premier destination for the heart, the soul, and the relentless drama of the professional tennis circuit. If you have a passion for stories that transcend the baseline and touch the spirit, do yourself a huge favor. Smash that like button immediately. Subscribe to our platform and ring that notification bell right now. Believe me, you simply cannot afford to miss the incoming updates on this rapidly developing story. And we also have a massive announcement to share with our loyal community. Please ensure you are also subscribed to our secondary channel for exclusive unseen behind-the-scenes footage of this specific incident that is currently trending worldwide. Now, let us transport you straight back to center court and break down exactly how this miraculous sequence of events unfolded before our very eyes. To truly grasp the magnitude and emotional weight of this situation, we need to rewind the clock and look at the context. We must appreciate the immense pressure cooker environment that Alexandra Eala was stepping into. This was not merely another day at the office. This was the quarterfinals of the prestigious 2026 ASB Classic. Standing on the opposite side of the net was not just a rival, but a veritable brick wall that Alex had struggled to scale throughout her young career. Magda Linette. For years, the Polish star has been the persistent thorn in Eala's side, a riddle she could not quite solve. A veteran ranked firmly within the world's elite tier, Linette had dominated Alex in their previous meetings, representing the hardened experience to Alex's youthful exuberance. She was the consistent machine compared to Alex's creative flair, and critics were beginning to whisper that perhaps Eala, despite her pedigree from the Rafa Nadal Academy, lacked the necessary grit to dismantle seasoned veterans when the stakes were highest. The atmosphere in Auckland was absolutely thick with tension. The Filipino community, passionate as ever, had turned out in massive numbers, creating a sea of waving flags and painted faces that made the arena feel less like a tennis match and more like a Manny Pacquiao championship fight night. The energy coursing through the stands was electric yet laced with nervousness. Everyone understood that a victory here would propel Alex into the semi-finals to face Wang. A defeat, however, would result in yet another almost moment. The umpire called time, the match commenced, and it immediately turned into a war of attrition. Lynette, the tournament's 5th seed, came out of the gate swinging. She looked solid, steady, and poised to hand the young Filipina another harsh lesson in hard-court dominance. To make matters worse, the wind was swirling unpredictably around the stadium, making the playing conditions absolutely brutal for both competitors. However, there was something fundamentally different about Alexandra Eala's demeanor today. There was an intensity and a fire in her eyes that we had not witnessed in previous seasons. Perhaps it was the grueling off-season training regimen, or maybe just a hunger to silence the doubters. But from the very first serve, she was not just playing tennis, she was on the hunt. The opening set was an absolute grinder, deadlocked at 2 games all, then 3 games all until finally the breakthrough arrived. Eala's forehand, that lethal weapon she has been tirelessly refining, suddenly ignited, allowing her to break Lynette's serve and claim the first set 6-3. The crowd went absolutely berserk. But the job was far from finished because Lynette is a warrior who simply does not know how to quit. The second set became a masterclass in momentum. Eala stormed ahead to a commanding 4-love lead, looking like she would run away with it, but Lynette clawed her way back, taking 2 games to narrow the gap to 4-2. The tension came rushing back into the stadium. Was this the choke? Was this the moment the rookie would crumble under the weight of expectation? Absolutely not. Eala held her nerve with steely resolve. She held her serve, and then at match point, with the wind howling and the entire stadium holding its collective breath, she unleashed a winner that sealed her destiny. 6-3, 6-2. She had done the impossible, she had vanquished her nemesis, and she had booked her ticket to the semi-finals as the stadium erupted into chaos. Eala, 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 chanted the thousands in attendance. It was a career-defining victory. It was the kind of monumental win where you would expect the player to collapse onto the hard court, scream towards the heavens, or sprint to their player box to embrace their coach. And for a fleeting split second, that is exactly what we thought was about to happen as Alex pumped her fist and flashed that million-watt smile. She proceeded to the net to shake Magda Lynette's hand, displaying the customary grace and sportsmanship she is renowned for on the tour. But as she turned away from the net, something in her peripheral vision caught her eye. And this is the precise moment the narrative shifts from a sports highlight to a legendary human story. It is standard protocol in tennis for the victor to wave to the adoring fans, perhaps autograph a few giant tennis balls, and prepare for the on-court television interview. The broadcast cameras were zooming in tight, waiting for Alex to accept the microphone, but Alex suddenly stopped dead in her tracks. Instead of soaking in the adulation of the roaring crowd, her gaze suddenly locked onto something happening courtside, right down by the net post. Standing there practically invisible to the thousands of spectators was an elderly matriarch. While we are keeping her full identity private, fans have affectionately dubbed her Lola Maria. She is a 70-year-old member of the custodial staff clad in the simple, unassuming uniform of the venue's maintenance crew. During the brief intermission, she had rushed out to clear away stray tennis fuzz and debris, trying to prep the surface before the trophy ceremony commenced. Amidst the pandemonium of the victory celebration, with ball kids sprinting and camera crews jostling for the perfect angle, Lola Maria was accidentally struck. It was not an act of malice, but of sheer carelessness. She stumbled, her broom clattering to the hardcourt, and stood there clutching her wrist, visibly shaken by the impact. For 99% of athletes riding the adrenaline high of a massive win, such a moment would have registered as nothing more than background noise. Most would be blinded by the stadium lights, the roaring ovation, and their own egos. However, Alexandra Eala is a breed apart from the rest. High-definition broadcast lenses captured the precise split second when Alex's demeanor shifted completely. The euphoria of the win evaporated instantly, overtaken by an expression of deep, genuine alarm. She bypassed the tournament director, who was approaching with a celebratory water bottle. Brushing past the television presenter, armed with a microphone, she made a beeline directly toward Lola Maria. A confused silence washed over the stadium. The front-row cheering sections fell quiet, whispering questions like, "Where is she headed? And is someone injured?" Alex arrived at the side of the elderly woman, who was frantically attempting to retrieve her broom, terrified she was obstructing the superstar's moment. The panic in her eyes was palpable. She clearly believed she was in trouble for ruining the celebration. That is when Eala did something completely unexpected. She did not merely offer a helping hand. She dropped to one knee right there on the unforgiving surface of the ASB Classic court. Having just survived a punishing 90-minute battle, the The 20-year-old tennis phenomenon lowered herself to be perfectly eye level with the 70-year-old cleaner. The entire arena went dead silent. You could have heard a pin drop as the powerful imagery took hold of the audience. Here was the vibrant young superstar in her athletic kit bowing before a humble gray-haired staff member in uniform. It was a tableau of respect that went far beyond the boundaries of tennis. Onlookers reported that Alex gently reached out, enveloping the woman's trembling hand in her own. There was no rush, and certainly no glance toward the press to ensure the angle was right. Her attention was 100% locked on Lola Maria. In a stunning gesture, Alex took her pristine white player's towel and used it to tenderly wipe the dust and grit from the woman's hands. She inspected the woman's wrist, rubbing it to provide relief. But the subsequent interaction is what truly shattered the composure of everyone watching. Courtside microphones snagged only faint whispers. Yet for those in the stands, the body language screamed volumes about what was unfolding. As the elderly woman fully grasped who was kneeling before her, her resolve crumbled and she began to weep. She attempted to retract her hand, seemingly embarrassed by her station in life compared to the tennis titan, but Alex refused to let go. Instead, Eala gripped her hand more firmly, looking her dead in the eye and offering a smile warm enough to thaw a glacier. A nearby photographer confirmed that Alex whispered a single poignant sentence in Tagalog, a phrase that has since ignited a firestorm across social media platforms globally. She spoke softly in her native tongue, which translates to, "Mother, please do not be afraid. You are the real champion here, because of your hard work. Just let that sink in." At the absolute pinnacle of her tournament run, having just dismantled a top 50 opponent, Alex Eala deferred her title to the woman responsible for sweeping the floor. Lola Maria's reaction was visceral. She covered her face with her free hand, sobbing openly in front of the world. Alex Rose assisted the woman to her feet, and then, breaking every protocol in the book, pulled her into a warm embrace. It was a genuine, tight, two-armed hug. The crowd, suddenly grasping the gravity of the scene, did not just cheer, they openly wept. We are talking about stoic, grown men, in the bleachers wiping tears from their cheeks. The Filipino contingent, legendary for their passion, was absolutely losing their minds. This had transcended tennis. It was about heroism. It was a display of deep respect for elders, a true testament to the Filipino heart. And then, Alex did something even more astonishing. She retrieved the woman's broom, passed it to a ball kid for safekeeping, and personally escorted Lola Maria over to the sidelines. She seated the stunned woman in her own player's chair, the seat reserved strictly for competitors, and placed a water bottle in her hands. Only after ensuring the woman was settled did she turn back to the court to fulfill her media obligations. Naturally, the post-match interview barely touched on tennis. The interviewer, clearly fighting back emotions herself, immediately asked Alex to explain the touching interaction. As humble as ever, Alex simply shrugged and replied, "I saw my own grandmother in her. We just play a game with a ball, but she works tirelessly every single day to prepare this stage for us. She deserves the applause far more than I do." The internet exploded instantly. Within minutes, hashtags referencing Alex and the real champion were trending topics on a global scale. One fan posted on X, "I have never felt prouder to be a Filipino." Alex Eala is not merely a tennis player. She is a bona fide national treasure. The way she treated that lady leaves me completely without words. Another comment summed it up perfectly. "We have seen some incredible plays in Auckland, but Alex Eala just hit the shot of the century, aiming straight for the heart. This is what true sportsmanship looks like in 2026. Pure class on display." Even Magda Lynette, fresh off a stinging defeat, paused at the tunnel entrance to offer a round of applause. When pressed for a comment post-match, Lynette offered high praise, stating, "Alex is a beast on the court, but her humanity is what shines brightest." Witnessing that was truly special. That heartwarming interaction has almost eclipsed the headline news. Alex Eala has punched her ticket to the Final Four, where she is set to clash with Wang Xingyu. We need to pause and appreciate the magnitude of this victory. Taking down a veteran like Lynette is a career-defining statement. It demonstrated unequivocally that Eala has the grit to navigate swirling winds, high stakes, and tour-level power. Coming into this week, skeptics were certainly vocal. The big question was whether she could endure the physical grind of the 2026 season. Consider that answered. She didn't just survive, she dictated play from the back of the court. While her first serve percentage climbed and her court coverage was world-class, the technical analysis has taken a back seat. The conversation isn't about her ground strokes, it is entirely about her character. We have seen flashes of this grace before, think Rafael Nadal, pausing play for a distressed mother or Federer joking with the ball crew, but Eala's gesture hit a unique frequency. It resonated on a deeply personal and cultural level. In an era where superstars often feel distant and untouchable, Alex proved that simple compassion is the ultimate currency. She embodied the old wisdom that the only time you should look down on someone is when you are extending a hand to pull them up. Let us shift gears and analyze the implications for the remainder of her campaign. While the world applauds her sportsmanship, there is still hardware to be won in Auckland, and Alex Eala is sitting in prime position to seize it. Her semi-final obstacle is the formidable Wang Xinyu. Do not underestimate her. She is an Olympic mixed doubles silver medalist with serious pedigree. Wang brings a wealth of big match experience and a tactical, crafty game style that frustrates opponents. Known for her flat, penetrating ground strokes and icy demeanor, she refuses to crack under pressure. Statistically, this represents the most significant hurdle Alex has encountered this season. However, the dynamic has shifted. Following that touching interaction with Lola Maria, the entire tennis community has virtually adopted Alex. Spectators who walked in with no allegiance have firmly planted themselves in Eala's corner. Even the press corps, who initially treated this as a standard quarterfinal fixture, are now glued to the narrative. The burning question on everyone's mind is whether the player with the golden heart can cap off this week with a title. In this sport, momentum is everything. Alex is currently surfing a tsunami of goodwill that gives her an edge money cannot purchase. She is physically dialed in and emotionally invincible. When an athlete competes fueled by pure jubilation and thankfulness, playing for a cause greater than the scoreboard, miracles tend to occur. Wang Xinyu is undeniably a top-tier talent. She will undoubtedly bring her best level. But battling an opponent who has a whole country and the viral internet rooting for her is a different beast entirely. Can Wang withstand the atmosphere of a stadium that views Alex as something far beyond a competitor, as a beacon of sporting virtue? We are on the verge of discovering the answer. Projecting forward to the championship match, should Eala dismantle Wang, she will collide with either a seeded heavyweight or a surging prodigy emerging from the other half of the bracket. The ASB Classic has always been a launching pad for players making their breakthrough. History is littered with champions who utilized Auckland as the catalyst for glory at the Australian Open and subsequent majors. Alex possesses the requisite skill set to join those ranks, and now she carries the narrative to match. Shifting focus to the first Grand Slam, let us discuss the road after Auckland. She is locked in for Melbourne, and given her current trajectory, she is poised to cause a significant disruption in the draw down under. The Happy Slam boasts one of the most culturally rich and electric atmospheres on the tour, bolstered heavily by a massive Filipino-Australian contingent. Once news of her Auckland heroics spreads, and rest assured, it already has, Melbourne Park will effectively transform into a home stadium for her. Additionally, she is teaming up with Ingrid Martens for the doubles draw, providing crucial court time to fine-tune her rhythm before the singles campaign intensifies. While casual fans often overlook the doubles discipline, it serves as a massive strategic asset for rising talents. It sharpens reflexes, exposes players to varied tactical scenarios, and fortifies competitive belief. Furthermore, the camaraderie and synchronized focus required in doubles often transmute into ironclad mental resilience when navigating the solitude of a singles match. Yet, looking past the immediate schedule, the ranking points, and the financial rewards, the events in Auckland today will shape Alex Eala's legacy far more than silverware ever could. At just 20 years of age, she has already grasped a fundamental truth that often eludes veterans for their entire careers. She realizes that a true legacy is not constructed merely on match statistics. It is founded on human impact and the standards of character one upholds. Consider the pantheon of sporting immortals. The icons who endure in our collective memory offer more than just a crowded trophy cabinet, though the accolades certainly help. We revere Muhammad Ali for his unshakable conviction as much as his jab. We honor Billie Jean King for her crusade for equality as much as her Grand Slam dominance. We celebrate Arthur Ashe not solely for his fluid technique, but for his profound grace and humanitarian efforts. And in contemporary times, legends like Roger Federer and Serena Williams are cherished not only for their reign atop the rankings, but for how they transformed the global landscape of the sport. At merely 20 years of age, Alexandra Eala is not just entering the conversation, she is completely rewriting the narrative of the sport. This unfolding event, which analysts are already dubbing the kneeling incident, is destined to be broadcast on repeat for many years to come. Expect to see this footage immortalized, in sports highlight montages featured in documentary films and utilized as the centerpiece for inspirational keynotes across the globe. Educators will display this clip in classrooms, and parents will share it with their children as the ultimate masterclass in humility, integrity, and genuine strength of character. However, the most truly magnificent aspect of this entire story is the intent. Alex did not perform this gesture for accolades, attention, or viral fame. She was not performing for the television lenses or chasing internet clout. She acted purely on instinct, a reflection of her core identity and how she was raised. This is the embodiment of her Filipino heritage, specifically the tradition of pagmamano, which emphasizes deep reverence for elders and recognizing the inherent worth in every individual no matter their role. Her motivation was straightforward and uncalculated. In that split second, she witnessed another human being in distress, and she simply stepped in to assist without hesitation. Yet the consequences of that simple reflex action are proving to be extraordinarily complex and far-reaching in the best possible way. Breaking updates from the grounds confirm that the ASB Classic Management Team has granted Lola Maria an all-access VIP pass for the rest of the 2026 season, while also planning a tribute to her service. Discussions are currently underway regarding an official ceremony dedicated to celebrating the unsung heroes and often invisible workforce that ensure these massive tournaments run smoothly. This wave of positivity exists entirely because a single athlete paused for 10 seconds to acknowledge someone else, showcasing the undeniable impact of leading by example. The impact extends far beyond the tournament officials, as major global corporate partners and brands are now sitting up and taking serious notice of the situation. In a digital landscape where an athlete's commercial value is frequently calculated by subscriber metrics and engagement rates, Eala has inadvertently generated the most organic and heartfelt viral sensation of the year. There was no script, there was no rehearsal, and there was absolutely zero calculation involved in what transpired on that court. She simply embodied her personal values in real time, proving to the entire world that a competitor can be ferocious during gameplay while remaining grounded. She demonstrates that it is entirely possible to possess a killer instinct for competition while simultaneously holding on to a compassionate heart for those nearby. She validates the age-old wisdom that a person's true worth is judged not by how they address superiors, but by how they treat those who can offer them nothing in return. By extending such grace and courtesy to Lola Maria, Alex did not just uplift one woman. She elevated the collective spirit of the sport and reminded us of the power of empathy. It serves as a potent reminder to everyone watching that sometimes the most minute actions can trigger the most massive emotional shockwaves. We are reminded of our shared humanity and the need for connection, which sets the stage perfectly as we wait with bated breath for the semi-final clash against Wang Xinyu. Our team will be breaking down every rally, every set, and every match point, rallying behind Alex as she attempts to maintain this spectacular momentum. However, regardless of what the final digits on the scoreboard say, we have already been privileged to witness a victory that transcends the sport itself. We have watched the genesis of a true icon, not merely a tennis superstar, though that seems inevitable, but a legendary human being. This narrative is destined to be passed down through the ages, inspiring future generations with the knowledge that athletic competition at its peak is about far more than just securing a trophy. It highlights the definition of integrity, who we choose to be when we believe nobody is observing our actions. It focuses on that critical split-second decision between taking the convenient, easy route or choosing to do what is morally right. It is about the emotional footprint we leave behind. And at 20 years old, Alex Eala has already cemented a legacy that many veterans fail to secure after a lifetime on the tour. My intuition tells me this is merely the opening chapter of her journey, and what a phenomenal athlete and storyline we are witnessing unfold. She is a remarkable individual, and moments like this are exactly why we pour so much passion into the world of athletics. It is never just about wins and losses. It is about the raw character exposed under pressure, and Alexandra Eala has proven today that true championship DNA begins with basic human kindness. We want to hear from you immediately. Did witnessing this exchange bring tears to your eyes or pull at your heartstrings? Do you believe Alex has the requisite momentum to go the distance and capture the ASB Classic Championship? And what words of encouragement do you have for her and Lola Maria? Please leave your opinions, your prayers, and your messages of solidarity in the comment section provided below. Let us absolutely fill the feed with the Philippine flag emoji and blue hearts to demonstrate our overwhelming support for Alex's journey. Furthermore, if you appreciated this comprehensive look at one of the most heartwarming events in tennis history, please do us a massive favor. and hit that like button. Your engagement is vital for the community's growth and ensures we can continue delivering these incredible narratives directly to your screen. Make sure to subscribe to the station and toggle the notification bell to the on position so you are alerted the instant we post a breaking update. We will be providing comprehensive play-by-play coverage of Alex's upcoming semi-final showdown, so your presence here is absolutely essential. Also, we have a major announcement. Please head over and subscribe to our secondary channel where we will be uploading raw, uncut fan reactions and exclusive angles from the stadium. You certainly do not want to overlook that bonus content. Until we meet again, keep your eyes focused on the ball, but always keep your heart invested in the match. This is your trusted source for tennis updates signing off for now. Speaking to the press, the player admitted there was a sudden moment of clarity while also joking about being on a squad alongside Jerry and Hugo. The interviewer noted that the entire group is left-handed, to which she agreed before the conversation shifted to her aspirations for the second week of the Australian Open. She remained grounded in her response, stating that she is focused solely on reaching the second round first, emphasizing her philosophy of taking the tournament one step at a time.